Hello and welcome. We have here the agenda for today's demonstration. So we'll start off with a brief introduction, followed by what CCAT is and what functionality CCAT provides. We'll then move on to the core of today's demo, which is the CCAT walkthrough. This walkthrough will comprise of definition of CCAT cloud rules and the profiles to which these rules belong to. We'll then customize a profile, so we'll add a new rule to an existing profile, and we'll finally run an application through CCAT and analyze the results. So let me introduce myself. I am Swaroop and I am a part of Central Cloud Labs, and I will be conducting today's demonstration. What is CCAT? CCAT is Central's cloud code analysis tool, and it evaluates Java applications for compatibility with the cloud. So it basically analyzes the application code and generates violations wherever the code is inconsistent with a predefined cloud framework. So what defines the cloud framework is the rules. So in order to modify these rules, you would also need to manipulate some of the files on which these rules are dependent. CCAT being a web application, you would need to log on to the dashboard in order to view the rules, the existing rules. So we start Internet Explorer browser and we type in the CCAT URL, and we have here the dashboard for CCAT. You can see here a listing of all the applications which have been run through CCAT, and we need to click on the configuration button to access the configuration menu and select the profile which we need to view. So the profile Cloud Java rules currently comprises of 148 rules, and we are going to be adding a new entry to this. So you can see there are already rules related to IBM binaries, JMX, JNI. We have ones related to EJB, concurrency and file access. So we are going to be adding a new EJB rule. In order to do that, we need to browse to the folder where CCAT is installed, and move on to the extensions, rules, PMD directory. So these are all the files on which the Cloud Java rules profile is dependent on. So we are going to be adding a new EJB rule, which is a cloud dynamic rule. So we open up the jar, which is the container for all these rules. We move on to rule sets and the EJB rules XML file. So we are going to be adding a new entry to this file, and this is what the new entry looks like. So we have various tags which we are using to define this new rule. So first one is the rule name. We have message, we have class, and we have description tag followed by priority. I'll be explaining the priority part a bit later. And within the properties, it says that it is an XPath rule. So the XPath rule enables us to scan an abstract syntax tree, and wherever it comes across an import declaration name that starts with the expression javax.ejb, it is going to raise a violation. So we just save this file. And we also need to modify an external file which is just a listing of all the files which are part of the container. So we have to add an entry to the EJB rules right here, and we're good to go. So we just refresh the browser, and we have 149 rules here. So as we can see, the new rule has been added, and here we have it, the Sintel standard rule for EJB imports. Okay, so now we're all set to run an application through CCAT. We'll be going with an application called BI tool, which we typically use to demonstrate the functionalities of CCAT. It is a struts based legacy application, thus making it an ideal candidate to elucidate CCAT's functionalities. CCAT plugs into Maven, and so thus to enable an application to be scanned by CCAT, we would first need to add a Maven build file to the application code base. So we'll just browse to the folder where the code base is, and we have a pom.xml Maven build file, and we populate the tag values for like group ID, artifact ID, name, version, and fill in the build parameters. So the path to where the source code is, so src, and src is where the code is. So once we are done configuring the Maven build file, we just open up a new Windows console and change the directory to where the code base is, and we type in the following command to start the CCAT scan process. And execute. And once the scan process is completed, we can just go back to Internet Explorer browser and open up the dashboard and just refresh it, and we can see that a new entry has been added for the application BI tool. So the dashboard has a pretty intuitive and interactive interface. So you can simply click on any area of your interest, and you are provided with a drill down on that. So we just click on BI tool, and we can see the numbers of lines of code and the number of classes, also a count of the total number of violations. So BI tool currently has 1448 violations, and the individual breakup of those violations is that 11 are of blocker severity, 575 are of critical, 427 are of major, 433 are of minor, and 2 are of info. Let me explain the purpose of this categorization. So if you're planning to execute the migration process in a gradual manner and want it to be handled in sequential phases, you have the provision of categorizing rules based on varying degrees of severity, and this helps you identify which issues should be dealt at which phase. So you might want to mark certain rules as blocker, meaning that they are of maximum priority and the code violations of this type should be addressed in the first migration cycle itself. Others may be marked as critical, major, minor, and info, and can be resolved in subsequent cycles. So this categorization can also be easily modified at any point if the need arises to realign the migration process. So for that, you again need to go back to the configuration menu, click on the desired profile, and once the view of the rules comes up, you can easily modify the severity level. So going back to the application, once you have drilled down into the application, you are provided with this view. So you can already make out that there is 24.9% duplication in the application. Plus, if you want to have a more detailed view of the violations, you just click on it, and you are provided the drill down of the violations. So to the right, you can see entries for each of the individual rules which have been violated, and the number of times those rules have been violated. So the Sintel standard rule for cyclomatic complexity has been violated 168 times. The one for Sprock JDBC has been violated 129 times. And again, if you want to have further drill down on that, you just click on the name of the rule, and you can see all of the files and their paths where the violations have occurred. If you click on the file name, you can see the line, the exact line where that violation has been raised. So you can see cyclomatic complexity, one violation is at line number 15, another is at line number 220, and so on. And if we want to move forward with some other rule violation, we can maybe go with Sprock JDBC, and again the same process. So here it is. So CCAT is a complete and very versatile code application tool, and provides the user with a fine-grained insight into where the code is not compatible with the cloud, and it is also very flexible and can be easily modified. And this brings us to the end of this presentation. Thank you for your time. Bye.